Hello, it's me, Kayla. I haven't done a video in a while, and I thought it might be fun to do one. I was going to do it on my nice DSLR, however, I don't have a tripod mount for it, so I need to get one as soon as I can. So I'm using my old phone on a little tripod. It's nestled on a little blanket. It's kind of a crappy tripod, but it works for this situation. So today we're going to talk about my art supplies. You might hear my cat. She might jump up on the table, so we'll just see what happens. Yeah, so to start out with, we have a lot of pencils. As you can see, this one's my favorite because it's all worn out. But if you want to know the brand, it's Twist Erase 05. And this one's, I think, an 07 or an 05. But I like to use scrap. I'm going to use some scrap paper. I like to use H because it's really nice for lining. It's really thin, so it's not for everyone. But that's what I do all of my lining with, is with H lead, because the hardness is nice. This feels like a 2B. Yeah. You can get them. I get mine from Pentel, but you can see the little H right there. And of course, the Super Packs HB are also nice. Yeah, so this one is Pentel Click 09. You can tell I really like Pentel. Really nice and thick for my thicker lines if I want to do a lot of layering. And of course, I got this pencil that I got when I was in Japan. This one is a Kokuyo. And this was a 1.3 millimeter. So as you can tell, it's really thick compared to, yeah, you can see that thickness difference. So these ones I do when I want to do like a really nice thick line, or I want to darken up a bunch of stuff. So you can see the variety in darkness, the H versus the dark. Those are my tools for penciling. Good example I have of my penciling drawing. This recent one I did of juniper. You can kind of see the graphite, but I do this like thin layering with the H. You can see the shoulder line, and then kind of filling it up with the dark, and then, you know, just layering that over and over until it gets this nice, you know, uniformness. But yeah, it's really fun to use the H to get that kind of like see-through consistency, and just layering it on top of other pencils. When I took college, when I was in art college, I took a lot of drawing classes. I think I took 2 or 3, and I just really do love layering that, you know, pencils under pencil. So, you know, you do the underneath with the H lead 05, and then building it up more and more. But when it comes to penciling for my comics, I strictly just do the H because I have to erase it later. And one of the biggest problems I have is controlling my grip strength, I guess you could say, because I know it can go soft and it'll be much easier to erase, you know, compared to these ones. Oh, and my favorite thing to erase with is, once again, another Pentel. I swear this is an advertisement. This is just what I like to use. I like to use that. And I like to use these Clic erasers too. Recently I got this one eraser. I don't use it much, but I like to use it for detail erasing. If I'm doing like a strictly pencil graphite drawing. I got this from a Japanese store here. It's Kokuyo. I really love their stationery. Really love their pencil supplies. So yeah, you can see it's good for corners. It's got a weird shape, but it's fun to use. Okay, now it's up for the inking. So I use a lot of stuff for inking. This is my favorite thing to ink with. This is a Pentel. This is a Pentel Tradio. I got this at a stationery store. A Japanese, it's like a stationery store, but it's also like a grocery store too. Anyway, my favorite thing about this pen, I don't want to get my big old hand in there. We got this really nice, chunky, thick barrel. And you can see the nib. Well, hopefully you can see the nib. It's a little angled, so it's almost fountain pen-ish. And you could just get like a really beautiful line thickness depending on how you angle it. You know, and this is what I use for inking for everything now. And the way this pen works, excuse me, hands, this whole part is a refill. So the part that's not really a refill is the casing. But you can buy a box of this for $20 and then buy the pen by itself from, say, a Hobby Lobby, a hobby store. But this is a Pentel Tradio. I really recommend this. I will say if you are hard on pens as I am, the nib will get a little rough after you're going through it. And you can see the condition of it through the little see-through window. But this is one of my favorite pens to work with. I inked Anathema with it. I inked Death Becomes There and The Recent Sixth World with this pen. And, you know, you can do line variety. And then you can see right here, this is where this is the Sixth World print I did for the Kickstarter last year. You can see all the variety and line thickness, but that was all inked with that Tradio. So, you know, it's really great line variety. You know, you can do like illusion of depth with the thin lines and then the thicker lines in the front, you know, and it just looks really gorgeous, you know, over time. I also used it for inking the sticker designs for the Kickstarter as well. So they're kind of true to size if you have bought the stickers, or you have not, they're on my website. The print is also still in stock too. So that's like my main inking pen, but I also use, and these are my new favorites, the Sharpie Rollers. I like the 07 and the 05. I have it labeled with a marker. This is what I use for the dense background details, but one of the favorite things about this pen, it is really hard to smear. This thing dries fast, and it stays dark after you ink it too. That's one of my favorite things. And the 07's really good. I used to use a completely different pen before this, but I would say like Sharpie is the best one. Before that, when I would use this as more technical pen line for my backgrounds, I used to use these ones. However, these ones smear like crazy, but I still have a lot of them, so sometimes I use them. But I strictly use these ones most of the time. I like to use the big chunky Sharpie if I need to do like really thick evocative lines. Sometimes I like to wear them out. Once again, the chisel tip is great because you can do great variety in lines, you know, get that width. I really love Kuretake's brush pens. These are really nice and dark and inky, and stays dark, stays black. Once again, you can get wide variety, line detail. Yes. She wants to know what I'm doing. She might jump up here. Oh, yep, you can hear her doing her zoomies. Yeah, but this pen is great. It lasts for a really long time. There's an indicator in the corner right there. You can also buy these as calligraphy pens. Let's see. Oh, wait. Grab a couple of them. These ones are still in their packaging. You'll see them at hobby stores. They'll look like that. And then some of them will have a little bit more of a comfort thing. So I know these ones are technically more for calligraphy, but I found that they're really good for the expressive, evocative line work as well. There's this one too. This one's a Copic. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm a big fan, big believer in these brush markers. You know, I definitely recommend them. But yeah, I think this one I got at the Japanese store too, here in Phoenix. Let's see, what else? Oh, I will often use Copic too when I have to fill in those really dark lines. You know, compared to that Sharpie, it's more darker. And then of course you need to get like a refill for these, but I do like this one because you do get the double tip. And this is good for like when I have characters who have dark hair, or if I need to fill up like a completely dark spot in, you know, the comic. Those also work. Also for tiny details, this is another Copic recommendation. Copic Multi-Liner black. You can get this in a pack. It can go up to, I think, 0.15. You can see right there it says 0.3. This one I use for inking my characters' eyes, are really tiny details I want to get across. One thing with these pens is like you got to be real careful. You don't want to mark it too, you don't want to press down too hard. But you know, if you're someone like me who's really mark heavy and want to differentiate with your line thicknesses, this is really good. I really like inking eyes with this. Yeah, this is like, I would say pretty much all of my supplies. I'm bringing up one of my comics real quick. So this is Six World, issue 5. So I'll use like a technical pen, like a Sharpie, this one, for the text bubbles. I like to use a 07 because it's nice and thick. That Tradio I talk about, the Tradio I talked about earlier, this one I will use for, if I could get away with it, I'll use it for the face and the line work in the faces. And like I said before, Sharpie or the Copic for the dark hair. And then once again, if I want to get like a really nice detail in the eye, like the pupils, I use the Copic. Yeah. And then for the border lines, I will also use the Sharpie, because it's really great, does its smear, keeps its shape well. You can see like the difference in thickness right here. His hair and his face and his eyes, the line thickness is thicker and it's darker, whereas the background is thinner. I use the Sharpie 05 for that one, and then the 07 for the word box, 07 for the panel, and then the Tradio for this, and then probably a Sharpie or the big Copic for the monitor right there. But yeah, you know, it's here's another Tradio. You could go really heavy with the lines. I think I use 2.5 refills of this while I was inking this, because there's a lot of really dense line work that happens in this issue. But it's really nice, you know, you want to create this like variety in lines so that not everything looks like samey. You know, I know some people might think, oh, just use the same pen for everything, and for me, I don't know, I guess I'm a little complicated. I like to use different pens for different feelings, and it's kind of hard for me to keep that consistent like feeling for all the pens. So if I can use like the Sharpie 07 and it's going to be Sharpie 07 all the way, I'd like that. And if I want to get more expressive and, you know, kind of go crazy with the line width and the line control to give it that variety, that expression, expressiveness, that's what I'll do. Yeah, so right here, really dense line work for the background. But yeah, so that's all of my tools, and I still have a lot more pens, but if I were to say what are the ones I use on a consistent basis for my comics, my illustrations, I would say that it would be all of these guys. Yeah. One thing I do want to note, if you do want to try the Tradio, you can get a box of refills, and that goes for the Copic one too. Where did I put it? Oh, it's right here. You can also buy the Sharpies in packs of 3 or 5. They're kind of hard to find in the store, like say Walmart or Target. But I would recommend like checking out like Staples or Office Depot. And you know, you can buy like big variety packs online, whether it's Amazon, or if you want to avoid Amazon, like a pen store, a stationery store, or I guess you could just go to the Sharpie store. But I do know like these are often sold out where I live. So if you have a hard time finding them, I would say like maybe go to a Staples store, and they might be in the section where the pens are put into the container by the checkout line, where they have like a little demo paper pad for you to test it on. if you want to try it there, you can. I definitely recommend these Sharpie pens. You know, Sharpie, I've been using Sharpie for a really long time, ever since I was in high school. And, you know, the nice thing about these ones is like there's no smell and there's no smear. And they're also good for like documents and signing too. So they also come in blue and red ink as well. And Sharpie, I do like Sharpie, but the smell gets to me a lot. So I've been trying to transition to using the Copic more. Copics, they have a new ink refill. It's much easier to use. You can get these online or at art stores like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Well, I would say go to Michael's, but you can definitely find these at Hobby Lobby if that's the only place to go to. You can refill, I think, up to 2 to 3 markers with this, so it has a pretty good consistency. This is worth 3 markers. You just need to buy like one of these, and then you're good to go. Here is the Pentel Stylo. It's also called Stylo. It's also called Tradio. This is a box of refills that I bought. I think on Amazon. As you can see, I still have a lot left. I used a lot within the last year. They come packaged like this with a container, you know, and it has a really clear like thing to show you how much ink is in there, and you can kind of see, yeah, Stylo refill, LG20. You know, I mean, I could hazard a guess that you don't even have to buy the black pen. You could just use it just like this if you wanted. But yeah, you could get a box of these. And how much does this have? The box doesn't really say how much it. Oh, it says 1 dozen. Okay, you could get a dozen of these, $20. Pretty good. You know, I really love Pentel. I like Kokuyo. I like Kuretake. And I like Sharpie, so I would say, oh, and Copic, of course, Copic. I would say those are my like brand loyalties, if I must say. But these have served me well within the past, I would say like 4 years of drawing, you know, and they scan pretty well. My scanner, the ink stay pretty dark, so you know, whatever you need to. However you document your art, it does pick up this ink very well. Yeah, I think that's a good summary of all my pens and pencils, and I hope this recorded my voice well and that I don't sound tired or too quiet. But yeah, I do know you can also get lead in different colors like red or blue. I don't think that's the case for if you're getting a different hardness. But you can buy these at hobby stores, or you can buy them online for the H lead. And I like H because it's really nice and thin and hard. You can also, I think, get them like B, 2B, 4B, 6B. I think I've seen 6B somewhere. H and F. You can get it in different thicknesses. But yeah, I hope that helped. And I really do like talking about pens. And I really do love showing off the different pens I collect over the years. I haven't tried this one yet. I definitely do want to try it. I should try it before the ink dries out, because that's one thing that always happens to me. I forget to use these and then the ink dries. So don't be like me. But yeah, I really like this pen. Doesn't smear, dries great. Even when you erase over it, it still stays really dark, as you've seen from those pages I just showed you. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. I guess I need to go check on my cat. But yeah, thanks.